Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Beta Mindset podcast. Today, I want to talk about why it's so hard to be your authentic self and what it actually looks like when someone genuinely embodies the truest versions of themselves. The reason why everyone has such a hard time being their true authentic self is because they are scared. At the core of everything, it's fear. Every single person is so fearful of feeling judged, rejected, being seen as weird, and that's why people act more guarded. People have defense mechanisms. People only display certain parts of their personality. People are scared to say the truth. People are scared to tell someone they like them. People are scared to give someone a compliment. People are scared to say a weird thought or express themselves in a certain manner. People are scared to sit in front of an audience and speak. People are scared of, honestly, each other. Everyone is scared of each other. And that's why we have such a hard time being our authentic selves. And this is what is so hard for everyone to deal with. It's like people truly want to be themselves. It's so heavy to constantly close yourself off to the world. Deep down, people long to be seen for who they truly are, but they are the ones who are keeping themselves a prisoner. As much as they want to be seen as who they truly are, their authentic selves, they are equally, if not more, fearful. They are fearful of what will happen if they end up being their authentic selves. It's always contingent upon everyone else's perceptions of them, and that's the problem. We have to make it contingent upon us just wanting to be and show up in our truest manner. If it's for any other reason other than ourselves, that is why you are scared. This does not mean that we can't enjoy the differences in treatment and opportunities when we do become our authentic selves. Because when we do become our authentic selves, we are more magnetic. So that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy that when that happens. But if you're only trying to show up a certain way to get people to like you, to get opportunities, you will fall back into the original trap of no longer being your authentic self. Now you are doing it for the world and not for yourself. If you want to become your authentic self, you need to do it because you genuinely want to offer yourself the best experience. You want to offer yourself resonance. You want to offer yourself a life that truly aligns with how you operate, with how you come off. Becoming your authentic self means you are finally going to give yourself the opportunity of shining so bright. You're going to give yourself the opportunity to be seen for everything you truly are. And that might sound great, right? But in reality, some of us, and when I mean some of us, I mean most of us, are actually very, very petrified of what that actually means. Because here's the thing about finally showing up as your authentic self. You end up possibly triggering others. Maybe others will mock you. Maybe others won't understand you. Maybe you'll fall out of certain friendships or relationships. Maybe your family will disagree with you. You are going to break constructs that you have lived by your entire life. So at first thought, being your authentic self kind of seems cool, like the answer we all want, the way of life we all want to live. But you have to understand the amount of shedding of layers that it takes to get there. And that's something to honor. We have to be patient with ourselves when we actually do go through this process because it is scary. Whenever we are losing people, losing dynamics, our life is changing in ways we never would have imagined because of how we're showing up. that's scary and it's going to feel lonely. So that's the caveat that I do want to mention. In order for you to finally honor the most authentic version of you, you basically have to let the old version of yourself completely die, along with all the relationships and connections and habits of and ways of life that it carried with it. Everything has to die in order for the most purest form of you to take place. Sounds a bit morbid, my bad. The way we actually become our authentic self is by assessing our deep core wounds that we developed as a child, our childhood trauma, the abuse we endured. We assess those wounds. We implement subconscious reprogramming, nervous system regulation, and ego work. Those three things combined, I think, encapsulate what it takes to heal those deep wounds that you have. Maybe there's other frameworks I'm not currently thinking of right now, but definitely nervous system regulation, subconscious reprogramming, and ego work. Those three are going to be your best friends during this process. And this work goes very deep, it's not anything that is supposed to be rushed. I know, social media kind of makes it seem that we slap on these positive affirmations, we change our behavior. Even I had it wrong the whole entire time, and that's what I'm realizing now. And that's why my content is going to begin changing. A lot of people understand the surface level manual when it comes to changing and transforming, but we have been missing very, very deep layered truths. And I think it's because everyone wants to rush the process, but this process of becoming your truest self, it's sacred. It's supposed to take time, and it's not supposed to be fast, because if it was very fast, it becomes very disorienting. Some of us are not ready to kind of collapse our old identity and become our truest self in an instant. It's supposed to take some time. Sorry, I want to continue, but my cat is a little bit in the way. Okay, she wants to stay right here. But if you guys want to hear more details on my interpretation of subconscious reprogramming, nervous system regulation, and ego work, let me know and I can make completely separate videos on that, because I would actually go very deep into each framework, and it's just too long for the topic I'm trying to discuss in this episode. But there are so many people online talking about nervous system regulation, subconscious reprogramming, ego work. So if you look any of these terms up, you'll definitely find a good amount of information that you can dissect on your own. But the main framework I'll leave with you is: we always make decisions out of love or fear. When you boil everything down to its core root, you act, think, and overall operate based on love or fear. The more you act in accordance with the energy of love, the closer you get to becoming your authentic self. The more you act in accordance with the energy of fear, the further away you become from your authentic self. One's not bad or good, it just is its duality. Nothing to be ashamed of, but obviously our mental health, our circumstances, everything becomes better when we are operating from our most authentic selves. Whenever we're in a circumstance or an unfortunate situation and we want to act, we want to do something, we want to be a certain way, we need to ask ourselves, am I doing this from a place of love? Love for myself, love for my mind, love for my health, love for my inner child? Am I doing this from a place of love, or am I doing this from a place of fear? Fearing If I don't do this, I'll be perceived the wrong way. If I don't do this, they're gonna leave me. If I don't do this, I'm gonna feel unwanted. If I don't do this, I'm gonna be embarrassed. You have to get clear on where your behaviors, thoughts, and words are being rooted from, either love or fear. And you get better at understanding which one is rooted in what when you start being self reflective and start asking yourself before you make any sort of decision, before you show up a certain way, ask yourself, am I doing this from a place of love or am I doing this from a place of fear? That is the base framework I can offer you through this video. After you watch this video and move through life, maybe keep in mind this new paradigm, love or fear. Always ask yourself, always reflect. And the most important thing is to always be honest with yourself, because asking ourselves reflective questions doesn't always work if we're trying to lie to ourselves. But if you're ready to seek the truth, if you're ready to heal your wounds, I promise you that if you implement this framework, this paradigm, you will see results. I want to leave off on giving you a picture of what someone who is authentically themselves look like. Someone who is authentically themselves does not doubt themselves. They want to compliment the person that they see looks good in front of them. They want to smile at strangers. They are not afraid of vulnerability. They're very open with their feelings. They understand that people's actions are not supposed to be taken personally, which is why they don't fear perceived rejection. They're not afraid to walk into any room and talk to the first person they see. They're not afraid to be themselves in a new environment with people they don't know. They make the weird joke, they laugh loud. They're not afraid to start a deep conversation with a friend they just made. They understand that anyone else's reactions to them being this way is just a projection of that person's own inner world. Now, this does not mean that a person who is authentically themselves doesn't also have discernment, doesn't also protect themselves. They don't just throw themselves at any person. They are careful with what they do. So don't mistake an authentic person with an impulsive person. I think there's actually a nuance here, because I think we think people who are authentic are also discerning, and those things could actually be completely different ways of operating. Basically, what I'm pointing at is there might be some people who are authentic, but because they're not discerning and still moving with their wounds, they may be vulnerable to the wrong people. They may let themselves be taken advantage of, or they may get drained very easily. So, last minute, I actually want to add this. An authentic person who also has discernment knows when to protect their energy, knows when to not talk to a specific person, knows when to stay silent. They understand boundaries, they understand protecting themselves. They don't just freely give themselves off to the world. That is actually the one shift that I needed to make sure you guys understand. Because, yes, maybe there are some people who are authentic, but because they haven't understood boundaries or understanding that maybe they're speaking to a person who doesn't have their best interest, someone who can be authentically themselves has a possibility of hurting themselves if they're not also walking with discernment on and intuition on. But to put this message to a close, I want to leave you with this thought. You are the only thing standing in the way of showing up authentically. You keep yourself a prisoner. It's no one else except you. But it's very hard for us to see that. We usually blame the world. We usually let our insecurities take over. And we don't see that we've been the one standing in our way the whole time. You hold the keys to the most purest expression of yourself, to the most authentic expression of yourself. It's just up to you whether you want to unlock that door or not. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys in the next episode.